stuff like that. And we just have 4 simple questions that we ask our clients during testimonial. What we'll do is we'll have them seated in the gym. We'll ask those questions. We'll snip those into different clips based off their answers, and then we'll shoot videos of them working out, doing the exercises in the gym, and then we splice that together into just like a 1-minute highlight thing of the testimonial. And you could do the same thing with the PGA pros as well. And I know my background is fitness, but one of the gyms that I own, we have a teaching pro that works out of the gym with us, and we have 2 TrackMan bays in there and a putting area. And so I do want you guys to know that the business stuff I'm sharing with you today from the lens of fitness also does work in the PGA realm, and that's what he is doing out of our gym. He was a guy that was a club pro for a long time, and then we joined forces and opened up this gym, and now he has 4 instructors that work underneath him, and he's implementing a lot of the same business stuff that we use in the fitness world in the PGA world. So I know I don't have the PGA background, but I wanted to share that story so that you guys understand that it does work in the PGA realm as well. So back to those testimonials, the 4 questions we ask when we're having our clients do that is we ask, what were you doing before you joined Cutting Edge? And they'll usually say, I wasn't working out at all, or maybe I was at another gym and I got hurt, but we're just trying to get a background of what they were doing before. Then we'll ask them, what have your results been since joining Cutting Edge? And if we're doing a good job, if they're a golfer, they're gonna say, hey, I've gained 20 to 25 yards on my driver, I've increased my club head speed by X amount, but we're just letting them tell the story of what we do. And then the other one we will ask is, are you likely to refer us to a friend? We want them to say, yes, I love it. I recommend it to all my friends. And again, just all we're trying to do is just create like-mindedness and create these testimonials so that when people see them on social media, that they're going to relate to that type of person and then want to come check us out. So back to that with the social media stuff real quick. Most of the revenues most of the streams we use are through Instagram and Facebook. I would say if your target demographic is 25 to 35, you're probably going to have a little bit more success on Instagram. If it's 40 to 60 like us, it's probably going to be a little bit more heavier in Facebook. We have a presence on both. We like to utilize both, but that kind of gives you a good idea of what demographic to use for both of those. We don't use Twitter as much. It's hard, and the reason we don't use it is because it's hard to monetize Twitter, meaning you can't do a lot of actual marketing and target demographic and that kind of stuff on Twitter. So we tend to just focus on Instagram and on Facebook. So the first thing we covered is doing those testimonials. Those were great. We get a lot of engagement with that. And the great thing with that, the more video you can do on social media, the better, especially on Facebook, because what you'll be able to do with Facebook is Facebook tracks how long people watch those videos, and they track who watches those videos. So you can go into the back end of Facebook and then create an ad that says, hey, I want this ad to go to people that watched at least 50% of this video. So if the video is a minute long, you can then create an audience that says, I want people that watch this video for at least 30 seconds. So let's say you're pumping out this content and then you're gonna run a special trial promotion or a free lesson or whatever it is. You can then take the people that are already interested and already watched that video and then send that ad directly to them. So you're gonna have a much better response with those kind of people that would be hot leads that have already watched your videos versus just throwing out a cold random ad out there. So that's why video, the testimonials and other types of video are very important, because then you can use that analytics and use those audiences to then get them other offers that you have going. So the next thing that we would utilize is more specifically on Instagram, and it's going to be what we call our pillars. So if you have an Instagram, your Instagram profile, you'll see on some people's profile underneath, they usually have like 3 to 7 little highlights. And these are great because these give people an idea of what you do. And for me personally, it also gives us a very easy content calendar to produce, because the hardest thing for people on social media is they get up and they're like, what am I going to post today? They have no idea, and it's really hard just to figure out what kind of content you want to put out there. And sometimes it can be scary to put content out there as well. So if you can develop these 3 to 5 what we call pillars, that allows you to then think about what you're going to post a lot easier. So let's say from us, our pillars are our testimonials, our small group personal training golf, fitness, and nutrition, whatever they are, it doesn't really matter. I can then turn those into a different posting schedule. So let's say I focus on each one of those pillars during the day of the week. So every Monday, I'm going to focus on my golf fitness pillar, and I'm going to post a golf fitness tip every Monday. Every Tuesday, I'm going to focus on my nutrition pillar, and I'm going to do a nutrition post every Tuesday. It's just a lot easier way to organize your content throughout the month instead of just waking up and saying, okay, what am I going to post today? And then the more consistent you get, the more people are used to seeing that content that you're putting out. I think the biggest thing with social media that allows you to attract people to your business is just consistency, and people want to see you constantly putting out stuff. And then if you can have a theme for the content you're putting out, that makes things a lot easier. For us personally, we have like our coaches meeting at the first of every month, and we will just shoot our content for the whole month that time. So that way I'm not scrambling to post a certain video or scrambling to figure out what I'm going to post. I got all my content for the month. They're based off those 4 pillars. I know on Mondays I'm going to always post this type of thing. Tuesdays I'm going to post this type of thing. Thursdays I'm going to post this. And it's just a really easy way to organize the content and organize what kind of content and when I'm going to be putting it out. And that can be huge because, like I said, the hardest thing that we see with social media is just figuring out what you're going to post and having like a method to what you're posting. So that's an easy way to schedule that and make it, kind of repeatable. Because a lot of the other thing you'll see with social media is people do a really good job of putting out content right away, and they kind of get lost or they get scared to put out more stuff, and then they go several weeks without putting out content, and then they put out more. And a lot of times, like, your audience is going to check out if you go 3 or 4 weeks without posting anything. And so it's good to have a consistent calendar, consistent posting pattern that you can follow. And for us, that's been the easiest way to be able to organize that. The third thing we're going to talk about from a marketing perspective is going offline, and is just being able to collaborate with other fitness and medical professionals. So for us, we do a ton of joint content with PGA Teaching Pros. We do a ton of joint content with medical professionals, whether it be PTs, chiros, whatever it is. And we try to once a month have an offline event where we go to a PT clinic and do a talk like this, where we're talking about the body swing connection or something like that. And social media is you have to have a presence with social media, but the algorithms and stuff on social media is always constantly changing, so it is important to have an offline strategy as well, so you're not solely relying upon social media. And for us, that offline presence is referrals, and then it's these seminars that we do on a monthly basis where we collaborate with other people in the industry, and TPI does an awesome job of that, of really pitching the 3-pronged approach where you have fitness, you have medical, and you have swing coach. So you can just reach out to other people in your area, see if they'd be interested in shooting some content together. Most people are, because they're always looking for content to shoot. And then you can do it online, do it via video, or you can do offline seminars and host those together and get in front of their people. And it's just an easier way to get in front of other audiences that you wouldn't normally get in front of. So just to kind of recap those 3 marketing things, we have the social media, we have the testimonials and the videos. Those are huge because then we can retarget back to those people when we go to do regular ads. And then they're also huge because instead of us telling the story on camera, we're letting our clients tell the story. We have those Instagram channels we talked about where you have your 3 to 5 pillars that you can put in your profile in those bubbles underneath. If you guys don't know how to do that, I can show you how to do it afterwards. It's pretty easy. But that allows you to develop like a consistent posting and content pattern. And then lastly, we just have collaborations within the community, getting offline and being able to go do presentations in the community with other fitness, medical, or swing coach professionals. So the next thing we're going to get into is the sales process, and I'm probably going to debunk a little bit of what some of you guys might do for sales, because a lot of the golf pros that I consult with, and even a lot of the fitness professionals that I consult with, are still doing a lot of the old school methods when it comes to sales, and I think there's a better way personally to do it. We have all of our clientele, they have 2 options for our memberships. They can do a 12-month membership, or they can pay 25% more and they can do a month-to-month membership. So 95% of our clientele do 12-month memberships, which seems a little scary. It seems like a long commitment, but selling is just honestly about what you believe in. And I think all of us would agree, whether it's a golf pro or a golf person we're working with, or just a regular client that's trying to lose weight, if we know we're going to have them for 12 months, our programming changes and it becomes a lot better, because then we can periodize that programming, where, like I said, whether it's with a swing or whether it's from the fitness side of things. If we know we have them for 12 months, we can then dial down and, okay, these 3 months we're working on this, these 3 months we're working on this, versus the people that come in and maybe buy a 10 or a 20 or a 50 pack or whatever you guys are selling, and they come in and they do a couple lessons, and then you don't see them again for 3 or 4 months, and then you kind of have to reset and go back to doing the same thing with them again, building back up, and then going that route. So for us, we really believe in the 12-month memberships, but from a business perspective, I can then project out what my revenue and what my total costs and all that kind of stuff are going to be for the year. If you're somebody that is constantly re-upping these 10 and 20 packs, you don't really know when that person's going to re-up that. You don't know when that income's going to come in again, and it can become a very hard way to predict what your business is doing throughout the year and what kind of revenue you're creating. So with us, for the 12 months, I can look and say, okay, this is my accounts receivable for the 12 months. I have this many people on this many memberships. I know I'm going to generate this much revenue, and that just allows me to plan out a lot easier for the year, basically. And our people that aren't on the 12-month, they go month to month. Like I said, they can pay 25% more to do that, but we only have probably 5% of our total population that actually does that. So if we have 95% of our people on 12-month agreements, it's pretty easy to be able to project forward going with the business. And I know that seems like something that would just work in the fitness industry, but like I said, the PGA pro that I work with, that I own the gym with in Issaquah, he does the same exact thing. All of his guys are on 12-month or month-to-month memberships. So it is applicable in the golf industry as well. And like I said, it's going to make your teaching a lot better if you know that you have them for the next 12 months. You're going to be able to plan out their sessions a lot more for those 12 months. So the other thing that we do that you could potentially implement is we do everything in small group personal training. So it's up to 4 people per coach. The reason we do this is because it ends up being, everything's monthly, but if you break it down per session, it ends up being, you know, $50 a session for the client versus $100, which is cheaper for them. But if we get 4 people in during the hour, we're making $200 off that session versus making $100. So the small group stuff is very beneficial for us from a business and pricing perspective. And like I said, a lot of people in the golf industry still do the one-on-one. That's totally fine. There's clients that work better with one-on-one. You can do that, but you could definitely add in some small group stuff. We have, again, with the gym I own with the PGA Pro, he has a lot of groups that he calls his prime time performance that come in and do lessons in groups of 4 to 6. They'll break it down where, you know, a couple of them are on the TrackMan, a couple of them are putting or whatever it may be, but you can definitely implement the small group model in the PGA side of things as well, and not just the fitness side of things. So getting back to those 3 things that we talked about, the last thing I want to talk about that I want to wrap up with is just the KPIs and kind of the numbers for you guys to look at each month. So we talked about marketing, we talked about sales, and now we're going to talk about those kind of key performance indicators. For our goals every month, our goal is just to grow the business by $1,000 each month. And the way we do that is we have these leads that we get in through our marketing. So our goal at all 3 gyms I own is just to get 20 leads in the door, whether it's social media, whether it's referrals, whether it's offline events we're doing. Our goal is just to get 20 leads in the door. We always have a trial system, which I'm sure most of you guys have. We want people to try before they buy. So we have usually like a 15 or 30-day trial going on. For PGA pros, it could be 2 lessons, 3 lessons, whatever it is. But we have some type of trial program that we're trying to get into. So from those 20 leads, so we're going to dive deep in these numbers here, so bear with me, but from these 20 leads, we're just trying to get 60% of those people onto our trial. So if we have 20 leads, we're trying to just get 12 of those people on the trial. From that trial, we're then trying to, again, convert 60% of those people to a regular membership. So if I have 20 leads, I have 12 trials, I want to convert, give or take, around 8 of those people to a regular membership. So our average membership price for our clients is they're spending about $300 a month. So if I know that I can sign up 8 new people a month, that gives me about $2,400 of growth that I'm going to get each month from those new signups. Now we have to build in retention and people leaving each month. Our average retention is about 3% loss per month, so 97% retention. So let's say I have 100 clients, that means I'm probably going to lose 3 on a given month just due to retention. So if I lose 3 of those clients and we're going through that and they're $300 each, that means I lost about $900 for the month, but I netted $2,400 from those 8 new signups. So now I just made a net growth of $1,500 for that month. And so that's kind of just, we could talk all day on that kind of stuff, and I realize we're going deep into the numbers with that, but I just want to get the point across with you guys of this net growth. The idea is to grow the business by at least $1,000 a month. The way we do that is converting these leads into trials and then the trials into sales. So those are the basic key indicators that we want to look at during the month is the leads and the trials and the new client signups. There's some other ones we could look at, but I just wanted to go over the basics with you guys today of those. And along the lines of that, it's the same thing. Like, I want to hammer home this point. The same thing we are doing from the fitness industry perspective is the same thing that our PGA Pro that I run the gym with in Issaquah is doing as well. So the stuff that we are doing in the fitness industry is very applicable to the PGA realm. I kind of want to get you guys away from the old school thought of having to be the technician and do all this stuff yourself and always have to sell these packages and not have a sustainable business. And if you are the person that is the technician that's doing most of these lessons, that's fine, but I would just challenge you to maybe work on one or two things in your business where you can slowly step away from that a little bit. If you still like to do that, you could still do that for a majority of your time, but maybe think about hiring a staff, somebody that can help you with the social media stuff, maybe another coach that can work underneath you and kind of learn your systems. For us, what I've noticed business-wise is if somebody can do something 80% as well as I think I can do it, then I'm going to delegate that task 100% of the time, because that allows me to, again, instead of doing those sessions and being the technician, to then go work on the business and work on the growth, instead of being the person that's always doing those lessons. So the two biggest things for us from a growth perspective that have really helped us be able to scale these businesses and allow these businesses to run is just having the right staff in place that you can delegate to, and then also just having your operations outlined. So one of my business coaches was very adamant when we started to open up this second facility, making sure that we had a full operations manual ready to go, like we were going to open 10 of these gyms, even though we were just opening up the second one. And so we spent a good year on it. It's about 60, 70 pages, but that's every single operations we do, from marketing to staffing to hiring to social media to whatever it is. It's all in that manual, and that manual is how we hire, it's how we train our staff, it's how we control our marketing, and it's a scalable thing that we can then take to each one of these locations so that they all run smoothly. So I actually have a copy of that operations manual that I will share with you guys. I have them on flash drives. I like to give that to everybody at all these presentations I do, so that you guys, because it can be a little overwhelming to start one of those if you don't know what they look like. So I want to give you guys ours. Take it and copy it as much as you want to. That way you have a blueprint to kind of be able to look for what it would look like if you were going to scale down the road to multiplications. And I realize for a lot of you, like, that seems so far down the road to own several gyms or several different businesses, but at least gives you guys, kind of gets the wheels spinning and gives you guys a blueprint of the stuff that we're able to do. So lastly, just to wrap up, I just want you guys to kind of think about what we talked today. And for me, when I go to these seminars and I'm constantly learning, like, I just want to take one thing and implement it on Monday, because a lot of time it's like information overload. You're getting thrown a lot of stuff to you at these different seminars, and it can be hard to start to implement that stuff. So the best thing you can do is just take one of these ideas, whether it's some of the marketing stuff we talked about, whether it's some of the sales stuff we talked about, whether it's just tracking your numbers each month, and just take that information and boil it down to one thing and just start to get the ball rolling on Monday, because you'd be amazed once you get the ball rolling with one new thing, how that can spiral into these successful businesses. And hopefully change the lens of the way you guys look at business a little bit, and maybe get you out of the mind of being the constant technician and maybe being the person that is able to run and sustain these businesses without you being there, which again for me is ultimately about creating freedom and creating personal freedom and financial freedom, so that I have time to be able to do the things that are important to me. So before we close here, I want to open it up to any questions you guys have, whether it's business, marketing, whatever it may be.
So on the 12-month program, can your members take as many sessions as they want? Do you have something
that's a really good question. So another way that we sell that 12-month membership is that we gave them the flexibility to jump back and forth between any of our memberships. So all they're doing is committing to some type of membership for the 12 months, and they're not paying all 12 months up front. They're just making 12 monthly payments. But we have 5 session a month and 12 session a month plans. So 1 month, let's say they're a golfer in January, February, March, they want to really hit the strength training hard, they could do our 12 session a month program. And then when they're playing more, maybe they're in a maintenance mode in June, July, August, when they're playing out, they could drop down to the 1 session a month. So they can hop back and forth between the different memberships. So that's a great question. And that puts people back at ease too, to let them know that they don't have to do the same membership all 12 months. They're just committing to some type of membership with you for 12 months.
It sounds like
hold on. Sorry.
I got who's got it?
Wait for the microphone.
Who's got the mic?
Quick question: do you charge for the golf bays?
For the golf what?
For the golf practice area you have in your
Oh,
gyms.
the bays, yeah. So the way we do it is we do a lot of collaborative stuff, but the businesses are actually run separate. So I run the fitness side out of it, and Alex, who's our golf pro, runs the golf side of it. And he has 2 bays, and he does allow people to rent those bays during hours that they're not lessons. So the people can go in and see the schedule, and any bays that are open that don't have lessons, they are able to rent, which is another great way to have some kind of passive income throughout the day that they do as well, for sure. Over here.
Yeah, one quick one.
Hey, so obviously social media is a big part of how you market. Outside of social media, do you market in advertisement, magazines, publications, anything like that, or do you really rely on social media for the
that's a good question. When we first opened up our first gym 5 years ago, we did some of the direct mail stuff, we did some of the newspaper ads, and that stuff worked then, but honestly nowadays that stuff is really hard to get it to work since so many people are on social media. So I would say we're 75%, our budget is 75% social media, and then 25% offline, meaning it's basically 2 things: referrals from our members or different events that we're running with like-minded pros that are, PGA pros up there. But we have gotten away from the direct mail and the newspaper stuff just because people just don't use that stuff anymore like they used to, obviously.
How long do you typically run a session for? 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes?
Good question. So ours are all 55 minutes, so they run on the hour. The other thing along the lines of that real quickly with us from a business perspective is we don't, which this would probably scare a lot of you, but we don't actually put the instructor's name on the schedule. They just sign up for an hour, and the instructor that's there is the one that they're working with. And from a business perspective, for me, that protects me. So if one of my coaches were to leave, he's not going to take 30 clients because he's not training the same 30 clients every time. Our staff or our clients are training with all of our different coaches, and actually it's the same way with our golf pros. They're training, they do it a little bit more individualized, but they have a lot of them, they have 4 instructors, and a lot of them train everybody's different type of clients, so you don't necessarily have a stable, everybody's training with the business versus with one certain coach. But 55 minutes, yeah.
I think I need you guys.
So with all those different people, do you keep like notes or logs on your clients?
Yes, we do. That's a very good question. So normally when I do this talk, we have 5 parts, and one of those parts is programming. We didn't have enough time to go through that today, but real quickly, the way our programming works is we do have a templated format because we have 200 clients at one facility now. It's really hard to write 200 individualized programs. So we have a templatized format of what pretty much all of our people need to work on anyways that changes on a weekly basis. But then the way we individualize it is each client also has notes with their injury history, their TPI screener, their FMS, whatever they did it for initial assessment. And then we basically marry the template with the notes to individualize that program. And we have to hire coaches that are very good at being able to do that. But that does save us a lot of time from writing 200 individual programs. So.
Any other questions for the guru strategy? Well, I want to thank you very much, Dan. This was a great presentation, very introspective. Round of applause for him. And I'm sure he will stay around for questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, or if any of you guys want a copy of the operations manual, I have them, just let me know.